I've drawn this pattern directly on my basswood egg using a flexible ruler and a circle template. If you need a refresher on how to do this, look back at our previous lesson and that will give you some tips on how to divide up these segments and how to get nice straight lines around this egg. It's all set and I'm ready to carve. I'm going to use my modified knife for all the chips on this goose egg, and I will be holding the egg directly in my hand. If you're carving and this does not feel comfortable, by all means find another way to secure the egg rather than hold it in your hand. I'm very comfortable carving this way, so I'll go ahead and show you how we carve this pattern. We're going to take out these 3-corner chips first along here, and then we'll take out the background around the circles that form the border around these 3-corner chips. I'm going to start right here. And come down my egg to get my depth right to there. And draw the knife out. Turn the egg. I'm going to carve right along the straight line now. Go down for the depth and draw it out. And finally, I'll make my slicing cut up this line from deep to shallow, and we'll see how much of the chip we get out. Going to go back for a second pass on this cross grain cut right on the bottom. And that's what it took to remove that chip. Okay, that one came out very nice. I'll go ahead for the next chip. I want to carve away from this chip. So my next cut can either be this cut, or I can take this cut up here. Doesn't matter. I'm going to work in this direction. Plunge down from my depth. Draw it out to the top. Pick up where you left off. Notice my thumb remains in contact with the wood. That way I don't risk slipping off the egg and cutting myself. Okay, 2 down, and we'll work our way all the way around the outside of the egg. I'm ready to carve the 3-corner chips on the bottom half of this pattern. And we want to be sure to make the first cut away from these chips that we've already removed, because this will form a delicate ridge right down the center of the egg as these chips are back to back. So my first cut will be from here, plunging down to the depth and finishing up right here. If it doesn't come out, don't force it out. Instead, start back on this first cut and get a little more depth and see if it comes out. Alright, I'll repeat that all the way around the bottom half. Now that both halves of these 3-corner chips are done on our egg, I'm ready to remove the background around all of these circles. Okay, we've got them here and here. I'll start on the bottom half. It doesn't matter where you begin. And the first cuts will be to outline the circles. So I'll make all of the circle cuts, cutting to the outside of the circle, shallow here, a little bit deeper here, shallow, deep, and so on around the circle. I'll do that all the way around the diameter of the egg, and then I'll follow that up with these straight cuts to remove the chips. These are not very wide chips, so you don't need to get very much depth. And it's quite small, so that's why your modified knife will really come in handy with this carving. When you reach the point where the circle meets the 3-corner chip, draw your knife all the way out. We don't want to undercut too much there and risk losing some of the wood that we hope to keep intact. Okay, so there's one, and I'll finish that up all the way around the egg. Now I discovered while I was carving around all the circles that the grain was starting to lift up towards the bottom of the egg. I'll show you what I mean in just a second here after I finish this cut. Okay, as I was making the cuts around these circles, it was starting to lift up and follow the grain in this direction. I don't know if you can see any of them, but sometimes it would want to lift up and crack along here. So I make this cut before that to prevent that from happening any further. Now I can go ahead and finish the rest of the circles and then make this inside cut to remove all these chips. Alright, I'll repeat this on the upper half of the egg, and I'll learn from what I did down here to remind myself to take this cut first so that the grain does not lift up in through here. So I'm going to make this top cut first, and then I'll outline all the circles followed by the bottom straight cut. When I first started designing this pattern, I envisioned it running all the way from the bottom to the top. But now that I've carved out the center section, I like it just the way it is, and I'm going to leave well enough alone. I'll erase the leftover pattern lines and apply a finish.